If you knee-jerk forgiveness, it's not forgiveness, because forgiveness doesn't come as a knee-jerk reaction. Forgiveness is a process. Forgiveness is something you work through. Forgiveness is something you think about. Forgiveness is something you mull over. And if you immediately jump to that, you ain't processed nothing. You haven't.
Goes right back to the black church. Black church and the Amish have understood it better than anybody I've seen in the last 10 years. That was when the Amish church got shot up. There was all those little kids who were homeschooled, and the guy shot him up because his wife couldn't get pregnant, I believe. And they said that week, we're going to take care of your wife because you're going to jail, obviously, for life. We're going to have her into our Bible study, and we're going to feed her and give her a roof over her head. It was a knee-jerk act of forgiveness. And then you go to the black church. Annie, you remember in South Carolina, gets shot up, a racist white boy, executionary style, in church on a Wednesday night. Their response of even the kids, most of them were college age, immediately sobbing, but saying, of course I forgive. Knee-jerk. Out of the heart. It wasn't like, I'm going to kill this kid and forgive. They also stated, we want him to come to our next Bible study.
The main part of this video that irks my nerves is this knee-jerk reaction language. But I want to see what thoughts or questions does his video bring up for the group. That part, I was just like,
If you knee-jerk forgiveness, it's not forgiveness, because forgiveness doesn't come as a knee-jerk reaction. Forgiveness is a process. Forgiveness is something you work through. Forgiveness is something you think about. Forgiveness is something you mull over. And if you immediately jump to that, you ain't processed nothing. You haven't. Based on sessions that I've had with people, and they start talking about stuff and they say, but I forgive them. And then we start to process that forgiveness, and it's not forgiveness. It's like a Band-Aid. So I will say this and do this because I think that's what I'm supposed to do to be right with God. But in my heart, there is resentment. So knee-jerk forgiveness is not forgiveness.
Black people are the only people who are peace too soon. We are always in a rush to forgive. And we don't have to be in a rush to forgive. Sometimes we have to sit in the tension of unforgiveness to process. It's like Pamela said, sometimes forgiveness is about a process. It's about going through all of it, really assessing how you feel. And I would dare say that that's part of our issue and why we have such a difficult time getting ahead. And so sometimes, I'm going to say it, Black people, we ain't mean enough. We just ain't. And God didn't make us that way. God didn't put that innate evil gene in us. God put it in other folks, but God didn't put it in us. And because of that, we often find ourselves in that place of constantly seeking forgiveness from those who harmed us. But the other thing is that there's another thing here, because when we look at the model of forgiveness, forgiveness does not flow down. Forgiveness flows up. And so the way that it is supposed to work is that the one who holds the power ought to be the one seeking the forgiveness as opposed to demanding it from the oppressed or the marginalized or the wounded. That's what Jesus did. And that's what Christian talks about. It flowed up. It didn't flow down. It flowed up. You have a responsibility as the person in power, not us to forgive you. You ought to be asking forgiveness from us. Y'all understand what I'm saying? And so because I just think we just get caught in this. We don't know how forgiveness flows. If you know better, the onus of it is on you. The onus to make it right is on you. If you are the person in power that violated somebody, it's not my responsibility to get you to do right. You ought to do right. Simple as that. You ought to do what you know you're supposed to do. Whether that's repent, change your behavior. I know that's a trigger word for a lot of people, but change your behavior, do the right thing, apologize and mean it. How about 40 acres and a mule? Let's start there. That kind of thing. If you're the one in power and you have the position, you have the money, you have the prestige, you have the name, then it's up to you to fix it, not us. Straight like that.
If you're still here, hit the subscribe button and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the video. And if you want to see the entire recording, it's exclusively available in our Patreon. The link is in the show notes. You can either subscribe or you can just purchase this recording a la carte. We'll see you next time as we continue to deconstruct harmful theology and build beloved community. Peace out.